Domain-driven design is, if you really want to know about domain-driven design, then the best resource to consult is Eric Evans' book, which was published almost 10 years ago, called Domain-Driven Design, Tackling Complexity in the Heart of Software. And since that time, there have been various trends about DDD, domain-driven design, and I think some myths that have arisen over time around those. I gave an introduction to DDD, and someone at the end of that said, well, this sounds just like waterfall development. And I was horrified because that was the last thing I wanted someone to come away from the session thinking. I think there's a tendency in agile development that anything that smacks of design could be big design up front, and maybe that's what the presenter is advocating. But that's not the case. I see that in a lot of teams that are doing agile, they really don't pay a lot of attention to design, which is not the intention of the signatories of the manifesto. When you look at people like Robert Martin and Kent Beck, Martin Fowler, they're very strong advocates of continuous design, of paying attention to design. And if there was one catchphrase from the DDD book, it would be design matters. We care about design, and that we want to bake that into what we're doing. And when we're dealing with a business domain that is complex, that is difficult to understand, where the complexity really is in understanding the domain itself, then that's where domain-driven design can really help. And you need an iterative process. You need to put design at the heart of what you do. And it's not enough to just do a little bit of design at the end of each iteration, or maybe a little bit of refactoring, or just incrementally put something together. You need to iterate over the design. You need to improve it, refine it. And when insights are generated, when there's that chance of a major model epiphany, then you need to put that into the code and reflect that in the code that you're doing. So we really advocate, one of the myths is it's a waterfall process, and what we're saying is no, it's not. And it's not big design up front. It's really putting design at the heart of agile development. That's where it really should be. A second myth that comes up is this notion that you can do domain-driven design without domain experts. That it's just a collection of patterns, that building block patterns like repository and aggregate and service and entities and value objects. But DDD, yes, it has those building block patterns, but it's really more a set of guiding principles, and one of them relates to the notion that you need to be working with domain experts. You need to know who are the people in your business that are experts in what the business does, and you need to collaborate creatively and closely with them to come up with something that you would never be able to come up with on your own. You need to explore models together. So there's this myth that you can do DDD without a domain expert. You really need someone that can guide you into how does the business work, what does it do, and how does it work. And then related to that, I guess the third myth I would like to talk about is the notion that it's just a pattern language. The DDD is just about the building block patterns. But when you look at the book, there's a whole bunch of different aspects to DDD. So there's the guiding principles. It's really more a set of guiding principles about how to do design and focus design effort where it really matters. About strategic patterns for being able to identify the various models that you deal with and then allocate your design effort appropriately for those things. It's about how to arrange those models in different contexts and how to create effective context boundaries and align those to your system boundaries. And it's about tools for collaboration. It's about knowing how to work effectively as a team of designers, and then as working with the business experts to be able to say, okay, how do we come up with something that is greater than just the sum of the parts?